Welcome everyone to my first Skyrim and anniversary edition build. I have done a build in the past once, but this is a lot better than that was, in my opinion. Um, so this is the Shadow Archer, a unique way pretty much on playing stealth, as I see it, with mods I have which change the way stealth is. Um, you won't be able to fully dive into being the normal stealth archer you might think, because of the mechanics with this one. This is I've made this for that exact thing of shadow and being an archer. So you'll be using a lot of invisibility in this and archery, but a unique thing, oddly enough, is destruction spells with this. But that is pretty much all. Hope everyone shall enjoy, and so this is the what I have for the Shadow Archer build. So with the equipment, I have the Bow of Shadows, as you can see. This is your primary weapon, and then as a secondary weapon is the enhanced Daedric crossbow. Now this isn't a necessary one. This is more optional, but I'll get into when I get on the playstyle. I'll explain why I have the crossbow. But with the arrows, you want to primarily try and get the dragon bone ones because they'll help do the most damage. Because as you can see, you're doing 69 damage. I believe that could be increased. If you have good enchantments on it or anything. Which again, I'm not quite sure if that's the proper damage, but again, this also does use some mods to change up the skills, which the mods will be near the end of the video. But then also these arrows here, they're also a modded arrow, but they are really good. So on for peril. Now the necklaces and the rings are again a mod, but you've got your choice of either, as you can see, sneak attack deals 23 more damage, and then that one's just 11 more damage. You can either go for more damage or better sneaking. It's a toss up on what you want, because if you can actually get more rings. That'll be another thing for mods later on. So with the armor, I went with the Nightingale armor because I thought, seeing this as a whole shadows build sort of thing, I thought pure black armor, perfect for keeping in the shadows. I was half thinking the Dark Brotherhood armor, but I thought no, because it's black and red, which isn't again full shadow sort of thing, and like the Nightingales are kind of to do with shadows sort of thing. So yeah, full equipment of it. The best thing with this is, you know, the boots are muffled, and plus a bonus is if you're using this for survival mode. I believe the Nightingale is the best armor in terms of armor rating and insulation, if I remember correctly, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, to recap again, this the Bow of Shadows, which to get the Bow of Shadows you need to, I can't remember the quest, sadly enough, but pretty much what you have to do is go talk to the Jarl up in, not Jarl, the Steward up in Whiterun. There'll be a dialogue to ask, do you need help with something? Click that option, he'll give you a page, let's follow the quest. Then you have to, I believe you have to finish Dragon Rising as well to be able to do the rest of the quest, but I'll leave that for everyone who hasn't done it to find out. And the Enchanted Daedric crossbow, what you need to do is go to Solitude. There will be a Flexure or an Archer type dude. You'll go straight up or straight down the street. Go up to the blacksmith, where he is, sort of thing, or like at where that part is to go, either the blacksmith or the castle. Turn left, and there's a little shop where you can get the Daedric crossbow. It's in the expert or master locked safe display case sort of thing, but that's reasonably easy to unlock to some degree, depending on how good you're at lockpicking. And then, yes, need that, and I think a Daedric Heart to increase it to the enchanted version of it, which again, the enchanted version is really good, but again, for playstyle, I'll explain about that later. So now I'll go on about the skills, and then leveling will be next, even though these are kind of tied together. So you want full destruction, and which again, everything, all the perks are modded, and that, but you want to go primarily up the shock spell tree and the fire one. That will be explained a bit later on the I'll go over that on the powers, probably about why you want to do that for. Also illusion, just because of the spells you cast, I thought, like, to make it silent, and that. So, and then don't worry about alteration or smithing. That's, well, smithing's a yes and no. I would say yes, just so you can increase your armor and weapons if you want. Obviously, archery fully, specking that every single perk. Light armor, once you get to max level, don't worry about this because this is just for unarmed stuff. I'm maybe planning something for that. Go on that tree as well, and then get that one would be good. But then, yeah, all ones like that, and then these ones. So yeah, you got like a sort of unarmed tree. Don't go up that, but then all the rest of the trees, yeah, go up, because you know, ones like that is really good. And there's a few different ones here that are pretty good. And then again, same thing for sneaking. Try and get all the perks. There are some that are more for like a sneak sort of dagger sort of one, but I'm not going for that. I believe, yeah, those are the main skills: is illusion, destruction, smithing. I would, yeah, definitely still say smithing is improved stuff. Archery, light armor, and sneak. So now we're on to still the same thing, but we're on to the leveling. Now, your main things you want are not so much health. There's a reason why it's green, because it's increased by other things. But you want mainly magic and stamina. But of anything, I would probably say stamina the most, for when you do archery, you can zoom in longer. Magic is just there to cast the spells, but I'll be getting to that in a moment. But yeah, mainly go up into, I'd probably say the best way to do it would be every, say, 5 levels. Depending on how you want to do it, is either, say, every 5 levels, so after 2 levels, put, say, 2 points in the magicka, 1 in the health, and then 2 in the stamina. Or every 5 levels, do 3 in stamina, 1 in health, and 1 in magicka. Or if you don't want to do the health, again, if you want to be more like a glass cannon type build sort of thing, which is this kind of is, don't do health at all. Just worry about your stamina, because that can actually help, again, to zoom in and stay zoomed in for those really good slow zoom shots. But again, like, there's a few different ways. That's what I'd recommend would be, but at least get about 400 or so points into the magicka, and then with one of the effects later on, you'll be able to buff it up in more than, yeah, stamina and health, but mainly stamina. So now I'm gonna go the I'm not quite sure how I want to do this yet, but I've got the standing stones, powers, shouts, and spells. I'm probably just gonna do the standing stones, powers, and shouts first. Again, as well, this is my first, well, actually first one, but actually first planning all this stuff out properly. I'm still figuring out how I want to do these, but for this anyway. So the standing stone, also as you can see, is the shadow stone, because again, this is all about staying in the shadows, not really being seen. If this is a yes and no sort of thing, because it's more if you can't cast a spell and you ran out because you ran out of magic, you got no more potions or anything like that, you got no way of going invisible, then that's where you have to use this. But yeah, the shadow stone is your standing stone of choice. It should be, but at the start you should try to get the sneak one. If you want, or if you really want to sin, there's a few things, or you could either go for Lover's Stone, but I'd probably still say, yeah, Thief Stone to help with archery and sneak, and then Mage Stone, and then at the end, Warrior Stone. But then, yeah, Shadow Stone when you got everything built up how you want it. So with powers, there is a few powers you get, but that varies as well from one of the other mods. But again, that's kind of with the effects. I might even put that actually in spell. Again, I'm not 100% sure how I want to do some of these, but I won't go over the effects, but you'll be able to figure that stuff out later on. I've also been staying still too long because how many characters moving around. So contingency is the racial ability for you. I think it's High Elf, which is again a mod. So what that pretty much does, because I have it set to go off randomly, so I'll be randomly turn invisible, which I love that effect. Then you got well, that's like a yes or no if you want to use that. Hawkeye is great because you can actually kill dragons with that with pretty much ease. Now the lion's arrow is the thing that is to do with the spells and why you had to go up in the shock and fire tree. But as you can see, out of combat you can store the spell that you're currently dual casting and release it with fully drawn shot in combat, which is amazing. Now this one you get after completing the Nightingale quest line. You can pick this one. Smoke screen, you can get that from the stealth one, but I don't find that useful. That's not useful either, and tripwires are a maybe. So then for shout, I don't have it. I haven't actually got any, really didn't go in the shouts. But if you're gonna use any shout, I would recommend slow time that's a drawback. Because well, if you only take the first perk in archery for like zooming in, you don't slow down time. I think that's the second perk. So you got a choice of either being able to zoom in slow time pretty much all the time when you zoom in, or use slow time shout, and then be able to slow time but then still zoom in. So it all depends on how you want to go with that. So now we're on to the spells. So I've got three main spells. I've got Charge, Chain Lightning, Elemental Blast, which is why again you want your Shock and Fire, and then Incinerate, which this is good for like sort of just the single-ish targets. That one is very similar. That's if you want, again, you want kind of the best of both worlds from all the perks that both provide. Chain Lightning, if you've got many of enemies together, like say if you're doing a dungeon crawl or something, or you've got a few mods to do with the Civil War, and you got enough enemies together, this will zap through I don't know how many, but I think a few. So that's the thing. They're very optional things. Of anything, I'd say Elemental Blast and Chain Lightning are your main spells. The Incinerate one is a yes and no. Because again, that one does plenty enough damage, and then yeah, Chain Lightning's more like a secondary bolt almost, because since lightning, it almost pretty much always hits directly on the spot. So on to factions and quests. You're not limited, but there are some very specific ones, which is obviously the Thieves Guild quest line. Now you don't have to restore it. If you want to do that, you can. The Dark Brotherhood questline, I would say, is a maybe. Because it kind of does, but doesn't tie into the backstory. And that which I sort of do also remember the backstory, but I don't. Which I'm planning. I'm actually might for me continuing ones. I'm probably going to end up doing my backstories first, and then explain about the factions and quests, and then. But anyway, yeah. So it's just so pretty much all of them, but main ones are, well, the only main one is the Thieves Guild, just to get that armor. Now you're not more like a bad character, but you're not a good either. So you can pick either side. It's more just in a sense for your way your character is just more. You don't really again like to be seen sort of things. With the Dawn Guard, I end up actually making it so it's actually, well, I'll get in that with backstory, but go the Dawn Guard. But and then yeah, obviously the quest is do all the main quests, and well, again, if you want to be the Dragonborn, you can. If you just want to be like a random archer or mercenary type thing, you go right ahead. But yeah, like pretty much do all the quests that you want, but yeah, just mainly do the So for followers, I don't have any, but if you're gonna have anyone, I would probably recommend Serana in some ways. Although I have noticed when I've had her with me while making this character, doing the Dawnguard questline, she tends to go and fight everything really quickly. So if not, if you fully do the Dark Brotherhood one, I'd say Cicero, which you'd have to let him live. So that's the only thing. It's either Cicero or Serana, or just no followers at all. So here is the backstory for the Shadow Archer, which I'm not good at these. I keep on trying to record these, but I just can't think of one to do very good. But anyway, I'll try. So once upon a time, you and your family owned a small farm on Somerset Isles, but your family was killed by vampires, which starts you on your journey for the Dawn Guard in Skyrim. After making your way there, you find out their holdout near Riften, where you go into Riften itself, into the city, and then you hear rumours of the Dawn Guard, which helps you get your armor later on. After joining the Thieves Guild and completing all their quest line and getting your armor, you also learn of the power you can get from Nocturnal herself, which also increases your ability for staying in the shadows away from vampires. As you yourself know, vampires can turn themselves invisible, and being able to turn invisible yourself will give you the upper hand on them. As you make your way to the Dawn Guard, they send you out to a cave and you find all these vampires. After making your way through the dungeon, you figure out a puzzle, and a stone tablet slides down, revealing a woman. Then you realize she herself is a vampire. But throughout your better judgment, you don't kill her, for you feel like she has answers to something. But yet you still don't know what those answers could be for. After talking to her, you find out something big is going on with vampires, so you take her back to where she wants to, we find out there is a castle of ancient vampires that are trying to fulfill a prophecy. Then you make your way back to the Dawn Guard, and everything seems hopeless as they have an Elder Scroll and have almost everything they need. Then after a while, you find out about a moth priest who can read the Elder Scrolls. You end up retrieving more, and you end up finding the legendary Ariel's bow. After bringing that back to Dawnguard, you're able to kill all the vampires in the castle and the vampire lord, and you end up feel like you've fulfilled your revenge for your family. Then from there you stay in Skyrim and you continue to do more quests and jobs for people. That is the backstory for the Shadow Ashra. I know it's not the best. I'm not the best at making things like these up. I'm hopefully with the next ones I can figure out a bit better ones. But hope everyone has enjoyed that sort of backstory. If you end up watching this, leave a comment on what you think about it. And again, with all these, you know, how I can improve them and stuff like that. So for the playstyle to more or less end it off, or second last, or third last end it off, you want to primarily stick to the shadows and obviously use your bow and arrows. And with the way you're equipped with the illusion, obviously you're going to be a master, you've got to pretty reasonably high up depending on how you want to do it. But obviously you're still going to have to get the illusion perk for spell first just to help, and you also want to get the perk to make it so your spells are silent to other people. Plus then with muffled to make it so you move more silently, and then with your racial ability you'll be able to set it to go off randomly. You can either do it so when you enter combat or randomly, but randomly is better in my opinion because it can happen during combat, so that's why I reckon that's better myself. Plus the mod that I'm using is Alternator, which ends up changing the way stealth works. But yeah, you'll stick to the shadows normally, and when you can get the perk, you'll be able to, in archery, you'll be able to put a spell on to your bow. So once you've got that, you'll be able to level up your destruction, I believe, when that's on there, because obviously it's still going to be hitting for a spell. So that's also when you can start leveling destruction, is when you've reached high enough in archery. Now, although oddly enough you're normally cloaked in illusion, you will have a crossbow. Now, the reason for the crossbow, because again, all this build is more primarily stick to the shadows, don't get found. But the reason for the crossbow is if you're somewhere that there's like more tougher enemies, or there's a few left and they're reasonably tough, and like you know your bow won't actually be able to do too much damage, that's why the crossbow's there, because it does a little bit more damage, and it ignores 50% of their armor. So as you can imagine, that's really good in terms of damage output. But you don't want to use it primarily, because again, it's just a backup sort of thing. Or if you run out of arrows, which you shouldn't, but just in case if you do run out of arrows, yes, use the crossbow. But again, it's either for an emergency, or if there's a boss and you want to get that really good sneak attack in. Those are about the only times you should be using the crossbow, because again, there's a few of the perks that affect only the bow, not the crossbow. So that is something to remember, is always bow, occasionally crossbow. But that's pretty much, yeah, the play style, and I will go on with the mods. So for mods, I've got True Dragonborn Heavy. That's to perhaps the more Dragon Souls you get, the stronger you get, pretty much. I've also got Ordinator Perks of Skyrim. That's obviously to give you the perks and also changes the way stealth works. Uh, Summer Summer Mist enchantments of Skyrim. That's there to help to give the different enchantments like the more sneak damage or more sneak um, effectiveness, pretty much. More Immortal Dragonborn. Now that more or less can work in tandem with the True Dragonborn mod, because with Immortal Dragonborn, if you get killed, you'll go into a bleed out stage and then you'll lose a dragon soul and you'll be revived, pretty much. In a sense, it works well because like if you die, you become weaker. But you've also, because you've kind of used up a soul that in sort of empowers you. I don't believe they're made by the same model though, but they do work well together. Dragon souls to attribute. That's another dragon soul one. That makes it sort of thing again. You can sacrifice some dragon souls to put some perks, either I think in the magic, health, or stamina. Perk points at levels 50, 70, and 20, 100. They're there for, obviously, it's an Ordinator adds in more perks. You're obviously going to need more perk points, because if you don't have a way to get more perk points, you're going to be there for a long time trying to farm up perk points. Wear multiple rings. That's there too if you got different rings, like if you say have one for the stealth, but then one for destruction. Um, and I believe with the you might be able to get a muffled ring. I'm not quite sure on that. I think that's meant to be boots only, but not quite sure. But anyway, yeah, you can obviously wear more rings, and Imperious Races of Skyrim to give you the contingency power that the high elves have, and which you use for the to randomly cast your invisibility spell. Also, if you're not able to find any of those mods, send me a comment, and I'll look it up, and I'll try and send a photo through that comment to you if you're not able to find them, because sometimes some mods, like, you can still look them up the right way how they're spelt and they won't come up. Sometimes they have like sort of a different, put a different word in, it'll turn up, like show up straight away. But yeah, if you can't find any, send a comment and I'll send a picture if I can get one of the mod. So to finish off slash the outro, I hope everyone will enjoy this. If if you have any thoughts of what I improve, what could be improved on it, which were sort of things either was good or bad with it, let me know. I won't do a redo videos of these unless I remake the characters and that. But yeah, if you have any ideas of what your opinions are of how it could be improved, these builds, or again, just your thoughts on playing them, let me know. But yeah, I've had fun playing with it. It's with the mods I've had installed. It is a very unique thing, because with like Ordinator, it changes the way stealth is. So obviously, normally in normal Skyrim, you could be right in front of someone and shoot them and they won't realise you. Now with this, you actually have to try and pick and plan, what you're doing. So it's been interesting, because again, it hasn't been a great challenge, but it has, because up you got to reorganize yourself, sort of how you want to play, because you can't go straight stealth properly. It's more realistic, and again with the crossbow I've added with it, I think that's, for myself, I think that's a nice touch, just for something extra for you to add. sort of optional weapon if not a blade, so you're still an archer, but you still got something there with a bit of kick or power in it, just for use. Which again, obviously, you can use. There is no rules to these builds, obviously. If you want to use a blade, or whatever, you can. You go right ahead, but yeah, I think that's pretty much all. And hope everyone has enjoyed. And this has taken me a fair while to do just because of problems here and there with recording and being able to get everything ready and that. I've just had a bit of problems here and there with stuff. Also, thank you and congratulations to anyone who's still watching. Hope everyone has enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time with my next build I'll be doing.